Yes.
In
We are
living,
live?
in living
Yes.
color.
We're starting out season 4 with you on your cell phone,
Gathering notes.
gathering notes. Is that how we're doing it?
Yes, sir.
Our first live show of season 4.
Yes,
well,
sir.
we like to provide the viewers with the latest information.
And I have to start the paper trail already.
Yes, sir.
For incompetence on the job.
Well,
Well, hey.
some people accuse me of that every week, so.
Hey now, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, it is September 22nd, 2015. Without further ado, I guess you can say this is the official start of our 4th season here in beautiful North Haven, Connecticut on the Squared Circle.
That's correct.
Hollywood J. Williams here, and joining us once again, this is Ruckus.
There it
the
is.
man they call Ruckus.
Yes, causing a ruckus.
Causing
always.
a ruckus.
Bring the ruckus.
And here we have Dangerous Dan Hoff, as usual.
As usual.
Yeah.
As usual.
You look bright tonight,
Well, you know.
as opposed to Jason.
Well, Jay's never too bright. But
There you
Always
go.
bright.
Set him up.
What was that?
I do not know.
I don't know. But I want to wish this is the beginning of a season for you. Another season, John?
Well, it's the beginning of the year, actually.
For you.
Yes. You're talking the holiday?
The holiday.
Yeah, well, this is the evening of Yom Kippur,
Right.
and this is the end of the Rosh Hashanah New Year, runs into Yom Kippur, and it's the holiest day of the year, and I really shouldn't be here, but, you know, I wasn't here last week, and you guys filmed without me, so I made a
Right.
sacrifice and came down, but
Oh,
I will atone tomorrow.
you will
Or
tell
the
tomorrow.
morning.
Well, happy Yom Kippur
Thank you,
to you and everybody else out
Our
there.
Hebrew friends.
Exactly. Definitely. So I am expecting great things from the show coming up in the next 365 days.
Yeah.
You've been watching the show for the last 3 seasons. Now you want great things.
Well, we do have some things on the horizon which we can't disclose of yet, but I predict greatness.
Greatness. We elevated ourselves to levels that you
Hey.
wouldn't imagine.
Going fast. Talking about greatness. Going quick. I might have to sell this one right off my back.
Really?
Yes,
You may
sir.
have to sell the shirt right off your back?
That's correct. People are calling me up and they, hitting my
Are you
phone.
that desperate?
No, people want them so bad. I might have to just sell this one.
Hey. They're in demand. This, of course, represents the PWA Squared Circle Television Championship.
There it is. That's a replica of the belt, currently held by Azrael.
Currently held by the man himself, Azrael.
That's right.
And what a great faction we saw. I have to say, that was greatness.
Well, you're
We
saying.
saw Sunday afternoon.
Well,
I can't imagine a better combination, a better trio, besides ourselves, of course,
right.
than Joseph Von Schmidt, Troy Stevens, and Azrael.
Azrael. Troy Stevens did the turn on Dickie Moon,
Right.
which we kind of expected from the results of the Clash of the Academy 2, well, at Clash of the Academy 3 this past Sunday. For those of you who weren't able to attend, Troy Stevens turned on Dickie Moon, and now Dickie is fully aware of it because Dickie was knocked out. The last time this happened, and Troy was able to play it off like, no, everything's fine, and we're friends, and they came out as friends and left as enemies. And Joseph Von Schmidt welcomed Troy back into the fold of the Injustice League.
This is the new Injustice League?
It seems to be. I'm not sure if they're calling it that, but it just seems like that's where it's headed.
Seems like that's where it's headed.
And speaking of which, while we're on this topic, the Normals lost to the NPC, so we have the new PWA Tag Team Champions in the NPC, and that would be Xander Litt and Nathaniel Carr. So we're happy for them, and we're looking forward to having them on relatively soon, hopefully next week, if not in the weeks coming up. We saw a new contender at PWA, and it was the Caveman. And he was able to defeat Hillbilly Greg. Hillbilly Greg was a little distracted, playing up to the crowd, and Caveman got the better of him. And if you go on our Facebook page, you'll see me with the Caveman. I was really, really entertained by this gentleman.
Now, the monkey was strange enough.
Yeah.
Now you got a caveman too.
Yeah.
Where are they getting these guys from?
I know the caveman is all over the New York scene, and I believe this is the first time we've seen him in Connecticut, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more of him because his style was great, and he was a lot of fun, and he's walking among the fans and clueless about cell phones and
Because he's from 10,000 BC.
right, modern technology. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, I don't know. We know somebody who's clueless about GPS, and from this era.
The GPS has worked great last season, and I think it's going to work even greater this season.
Yeah, you've been up to Hadley, Mass, and
Right.
quite a few places this last season. So hopefully
Right.
more coming up. But another highlight of Sunday, before we get off the subject,
go ahead.
the PWA Ox-Baker Old School Heavyweight Championship was retained by Rays. Wrecking Ball gave him one heck of a match. I mean, you saw two very large men battling it out, and some of the agility that Wrecking Ball and Rays displayed was really amazing, and we thought the ring was going to collapse at some point.
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
Yeah,
like
I
the
did
late
say
Earl-
that during
Earl Monsoon
the match. Yeah,
always said.
so it was quite the day, and the whole event was really great. And McGaffin.
With his little interview scene.
Yeah. I'm really, I'm a fan of it. I think it's very funny, and it's highly entertaining, and they just sell it very well. And I really have to commend Joseph von Schmidt, Kara Schmidtke, and the rest of the crew at PWA for putting on one
Exactly.
incredible show.
Do we have an idea of when their next event's going to be?
No, there hasn't been an announcement yet, but Kara just puts together a really fine product, and Joseph von Schmidt and the rest of the crew are down there. So
Right.
we really
Sandbank Avenue in Cheshire, Connecticut.
Sandbank, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, if you can get down there, and it's ProWrestlingAcademyCT.com for all your information, and you can go see the PWA Squared Circle Television Championship on display
Exactly.
at every event.
And for those of you who want to get real ambitious and do some traveling, this great state of Massachusetts is also, as we learned last season, a hotbed for independent wrestling action.
Yep.
Of course, Pioneer Valley, our fine friends over there in the Pioneer Valley area of Massachusetts, the 91 corridor, they put on a great card, 20-man rumble, almost 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We have a special. It was supposed to be our season premiere last week from American Steam.
Right.
Did not end up airing. They tell me it'll be airing periodically over maybe the course of the following week. But I have the results of that card in case anybody does not get the chance to tune in, because I can't really tell you when it would be airing
Well, it
or
bears
not.
repeating.
Right.
Go ahead.
So I'll run it down here. This is from September 12th. The American Legion in Hadley, Massachusetts had their 20-man Rumble card. We had the preliminary match. We had Black and Blue Crew, a combination of Damian Black and Ryan Malice defeat Nate Nastic and Shane Marvel. Shane Marvel is familiar to all of us, of course, in the wrestling scene.
Yep.
Preliminary match number 2, one half of the Sea Stars, the Galaxy Demigod herself, Delmi XO, defeated Tequila Rose. So Delmi XO goes on to become a regular part of the Pioneer Valley roster.
Congratulations. Very good.
So very good on that. Then we had the opening. TK O'Ryan opened the show with strong words for AJ Cruz. Frankie Ariane and Commissioner Idol suspended the champion Brad Hollister. TK O'Ryan also demanded a spot later on that evening in the 20-man Rumble.
Right.
He wanted to be the last contender in there, but Idol turned around and made him become the number 1 person. It's a miniature version of the Royal Rumble.
Right.
That's all it basically is.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you mean to say it's a miniature version, but I found it very entertaining, action-packed.
Oh, that is not taking nothing away from it. That's all you're talking. It's just 20. It's just a matter of 20 people as opposed to 30 people with the
Right.
Royal Rumble. Right.
Well, 20 people at an indie show, in addition to the rest of the card, is quite, quite
Right.
the feat.
Oh yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Obviously, the independent folks don't have the budget that, Vince McMahon has. So, in order to have, 20 in one match and, like 10 or 12.
This event had an attendance of 175.
Wow.
So
The TNA got on Saturday.
That's more than TNA got on Saturday, yeah.
I think it's funny, they got 95 people.
They got 95
Wow.
people on Saturday. Wow.
So PvP had more people at their last event than TNA had at their last event.
Well,
We'll talk more about that
right,
later.
For my dollar, PvP puts on a better show. But
It might. It probably does.
yeah,
Flex Rumble Crunch, who might, if anybody that follows Shikara Pro Wrestling might
Yeah.
know him as part of Devastation Corporation, defeated Wolfgar, who was part of the Aristocrats with William King. Johnny Torres and Viewer's Choice, the combination of AJ Cruz and Lucas Sharp, defeated Dan DeMann and the Five-Star Spectacle, along with their manager, Honest Abe, who looks nothing like Abraham Lincoln whatsoever.
No, it's
that's your buddy there,
missing the stovepipe hat and the whole.
Lucas Sharp.
That's, an associate of mine, of course.
Don't we have footage of you and Lucas floating around somewhere?
You had that. you
More
shouldn't-
recently, though. Maybe the last time you went up.
Last time we went up,
Yeah,
but we
and-
showed that the last time.
We haven't shown the striker footage yet, though, have we?
Not yet.
Striker? Okay.
Not yet. Had a little difficulty with that. Perhaps next week.
Okay.
Right.
That I need to see again.
That you
I
need to
can't
see.
see that enough. That was incredible.
It was incredible.
I digress.
We also had the
That was good.
classic. This is one of my favorite. Every time this guy comes out, it's just hysterical. Dynamite Doug Summers.
I thought you were going to say Saru.
No. Dynamite Doug Summers, who is forced to wrestle
Oh, in the dress.
in a dress.
Correct.
Due to the fact that he lost the match to Toxis back in February, I believe, and has not been able to win a match since.
Wow. Maybe
Got-
it's the dress that's keeping him from winning the match.
I don't know.
Well, as the Thunderers one, Tom Dacey, we were at our sponsor American Steamed, and we found out that Jay, in fact, likes men in dresses.
Oh.
So
I like to watch
there's a-
men wrestle in
So
dresses.
you like to watch men in dresses? I'm telling you.
Men named Doug Summers wrestle in dresses.
Okay.
Right. Don't
Nothing, I
take
think there's anything
anything.
wrong with that. Hey,
To each their own, bro.
It's funny.
Hey, you go to Scotland, right? They just call it a kilt.
Dynamite Doug, of course, accompanied by Ashley Vox, who was our call-in guest a couple weeks ago.
3 weeks
Two
ago.
or
yeah.
3 weeks ago now, right? But Bobby Ocean defeated Dynamite Doug, unfortunately, so Doug Summers is forced to continue wearing said dress.
Wow.
Right. He just can't seem to catch a break. I mean, Ashley was hopeful when we talked to her that Doug would be able to lose
right,
the dress,
right.
but then it seems like they had a little bit of an argument, disagreement again, as it seems like they've been doing lately. Doug and Ashley, I don't know. But then they seem to just quickly patch things up.
Lana Rusev, that kind of dynamic. But
Yeah, something
shall
like
see.
that. We shall see what happens. The Tag Team Championship, the Masterminds who walked in as the champions, Johnny Idol and Marshall McNeil, lost once again to the Aristocrats, this time the combination of Zachary, Pierre Boileau, and Tomahawk, our former call-in guest on our show.
Yeah, Tomahawk, great talent.
Right, definitely. So the Aristocrats once again have the PvP tag titles. Then we had the 20-man Rumble, who the winner of that ended up being AJ Cruz,
Nice.
one half of Viewer's Choice.
Yep.
So then the main event, which was Joseph the Killer DiNucci representing his charge, Brad Hollister, because Hollister is suspended, of course.
Yep.
Defeated miraculously. I don't know how he did this. This was just totally amazing. You saw it, Dan. You were there.
I was in.
It was a miracle. The man took a butt whipping the whole match,
Yeah.
I mean, Danucci was tied to a chair at one point, and he was forced to eat dog bone at one point and start barking like a dog
Right.
by Frankie Arian.
Okay.
And somehow Danucci ended up. Well, TK Orion came out and he was just walking around, and I don't know what happened. He accidentally ran into Frankie Arian. He was out there for a little, and he was running out there. I don't know. And
Well, we're definitely going to have to grab some footage of that and
yeah,
share it, because that sounds like an incredible
we
night.
have some footage that not ready at this moment,
Right,
but
right.
you know,
I know you're getting lax, and we've got a lot of footage backed up, and I think we got enough for the whole season at this point.
Well, you know what it is, John? I think he's more concerned about the men in dress and tying men to chairs, and he's getting a little
Distracted.
Distracted.
and of course on Saturday I climbed aboard a ferry too
See, bro.
to Block Island.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Am I on a different show?
You're on the right show here. Don't worry about it. Block Island was beautiful. I recommend it to anybody that needs a one-day getaway.
Yeah, but I'm concerned about the dresses, the chairs, and the ferries. It's
Oh my.
So the next card is going to be The Wrestling Dead, October 24th, 2015. Once again at the American Legion Hall in Hadley, Massachusetts. That's 162 Russell Street. Doors open at 6:15. The bell time's at 7. And Brad Hollister, who will be there in person, defends his PvP title against the new #1 contender, AJ Cruz.
And I understand that night they're having a costume contest.
Costume contest, raffles. There you go, The Wrestling Dead.
Maybe you should wear the dress this time. Maybe you'll win. You go dressed in the dress, and you win the costume contest.
I wouldn't want to wrestle Doug Summers.
and you start wearing dresses, bro.
I wouldn't want to do that. I don't
Not that
know.
there's anything wrong with that.
Well, if that's what Jay enjoys,
Dynamite Doug Summers takes on Justin the Hammer Tunis, the returning Justin the Hammer Tunis, at the Wrestling Dead on October 24th.
Yeah.
Hammer Tunis taking a break after an accident, coming back in that 20-man Rumble. Amazing. He looks
thunderous applause, a very loud pop.
Exactly. He had one of the hugest pops of the whole night.
Nice.
So he's going to be taking on Dynamite Doug Summers. And Ashley Vox has an enviable task of taking on it's got to be at least 300 pounds, the
Toxis.
unstoppable force known as Toxis.
Toxis. Yes.
Right.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. So that's what we have going on there for the Wrestling Dead. More information as we get it. October 10th, another card we have footage of. We're gonna have to maybe take another week off and just show footage.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like here. We have Us versus Them at Mount Carmel Park in Enfield, Connecticut, with the special guest so far. One of the best podcasts out there, famous for having CM Punk on as a guest back in October.
Yep.
Can't remember the name of the podcast right now, but the man's name is Colt Cabana,
Cabana.
of course.
Yes.
The Art of Wrestling. The Art of
Excuse
Wrestling podcast. That's the name of the podcast.
Yes. And Cole Cabana, I wish him a happy Yom Kippur.
Oh,
He's of the faith as well.
he's of the faith as well. Colt Cabana and the Masterminds from Pioneer Valley, the former tag champions Johnny Idol and Marshall McNeil, on October 10th. They take on the East Coast Bastard Crew, who issued an open challenge the last Us versus Them event, and that is who they will be taking on as well. Also, Crazy Steve, who we knew from the Menagerie back in TNA, takes on, let me get this straight, Fluffy the Killer Bunny.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that on our page. They got the monkey, they got the caveman. Now we got the killer bunny. it's getting
What's up with
crazy.
all these
It's
cartoon
getting
characters
crazy.
lately? I don't know.
You know, it's entertainment, man. That's really what it is. It's what it comes down to.
I haven't seen anything like that since like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, well, everything old is new again.
Everything old is new again, I guess. October 10th, that's at Mount Carmel Park, Enfield, Connecticut. I had some great interviews. Unfortunately, went someplace to get those interviews put on a flash drive yesterday,
Right.
and unfortunately, I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to that place again. I don't know.
No, oh, okay.
Right.
Let's not bash them, but okay.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
no, I don't know.
We didn't lose it though.
We have the flash drive,
Okay.
guys. I'm just kidding, of course. I'll be down there again.
There we go.
Yeah. So just bear with us.
We'll get there.
It's coming. Great things are coming.
Yes.
The good things come to those who wait.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. So that's basically what we have so far. And of course, RPW getting rowdy. The only other thing, October 17th, the venue has been moved from West Springfield, Massachusetts, the Clarion Hotel and Aqua Lagoon Water Park. It is now going to be in Palmer, Massachusetts, St. Thomas the Apostle Church. That's 1076 Thorndike Street. Unaware of the reasoning for the venue change, but I was informed by Beth Newton last week.
Right. So it happens. I mean, it's happened to nearly every organization out there.
Yeah.
So
But somehow I don't think the after party will be quite the same.
oh, it's at the St. Thomas the Apostle Church. So I mean,
Right.
there might be a little wine.
Well,
Good have
maybe.
yeah. The red wine will be flowing. That's for sure. But stay tuned for more info. We here at the Squared Circle proudly support independent wrestling.
That's correct.
And encourage you all to get out and support it.
Yes.
As we promote it, you support it.
There we are.
We all support it.
Yep.
Definitely. Anyway, moving right along to Night of Champions.
Night of Champions.
What do you give it?
Yeah.
A little better than previous ones, but not.
You know, I keep saying this, and I hate to be redundant, but it just seems with a pay-per-view every month, you know, it's not an event anymore.
Right.
You know, it just feels like another episode of Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
You know, or
You have an extra show to watch this week on a Sunday.
right. Yeah,
Right.
and
It's what it gets to the point.
and it just seems like the Raw, the night afterward, is just becoming just a rehash of the pay-per-view. So it really.
Do you even call it a pay-per-view anymore when it's on the network?
You know, they're really not encouraging you to watch the pay-per-view or watch the network, the Sunday show on the network, because you're getting most of the highlights and even like a rematch the following night on Raw, which we saw this week.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know, it's not like an event anymore. I just can't get.
It's like if you missed John Cena versus Seth Rollins for the U.S. title at Night of Champions, you just tuned into the main event of Raw last night,
Right.
and you got it again.
Yeah. So I really don't follow their marketing strategy by, you know, they want you to purchase the network, they want you to, you know, subscribe to it and watch the shows on the network, but yet then they're giving it to you for free on USA the following night. Yes, I understand you give highlights for the people that didn't see it, and maybe they'll tune in next time, but when they give you almost the entirety of the pay-per-view, what's the point of having it? I don't know. I can't get excited anymore for it. It was mediocre at best. You know, there was nothing super duper about it, except for the jackass fan that got all the way into the ring, hopped the barrier, got all the way into the ring. And
I don't have any news reports about that, but I did see it.
10 days in jail.
Got 10 days
So-
in jail.
You
For
had
jumping in.
right. You had your 10 seconds of fame or whatever it turned out to be for 10 days in jail. It's just
This is the third time
yes,
it's happened to this group.
right. Yeah, it's just kind of
of-
weird that this is the third time and it's always a member of the Shield involved.
Roman Reigns, this happened to him back in Vancouver, maybe back in June or July.
Yeah.
This happened.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose almost got stabbed, I think, in Florida
Yes.
a couple weeks ago. And now you have this right on the live special event, whatever you call it,
Right.
where the guy just jumps in. Maybe in his mind he wanted to be the mystery partner.
Right, the mystery part, and he got all the way into the ring standing behind them. It's unbelievable.
That's
You can
scary.
see the footage online. I'm like, how does this happen? You know, I
Yeah.
mean, is security that lax or that poor? I mean, and it's just mind-boggling. Unless somehow it's all leading up to a work, which
What kind of work would it be, though?
I do not know, because it's been a different person each time.
It's been a different person each time. They don't really mention it.
Yeah.
They
Right,
act like it
right.
doesn't. It
Yeah,
didn't
they
happen.
cut away from it, but it's
Mhm.
just it's mind-boggling how that can happen. But,
Yeah, the security's got to be really, really, I don't know, lax.
Right. You know, I can see like the person jumping the barrier because you can't patrol the whole, perimeter, but getting, into the ring is just beyond.
Right. I mean, what does this say for WWE's security?
Right.
I mean, this person could have had a weapon on him. I mean, you have to go through security to get into
Right.
the arena.
Right. Yeah, we've all done that.
Right. But
Who knows?
who knows? I mean, if you know the right person that happens to be working in the arena,
Right.
Right.
It's crazy.
you don't know. We don't want to see any of the athletes, superstars,
Right.
harmed.
Right.
That's
You
the
know.
whole thing.
And the other thing is, you just mentioned they already have security. Now, are they going to make security that much more present and then make it more difficult for the fans, the average fans that go in, and just make it more difficult and, more
Right.
uncomfortable to be at their event because they have to increase security by that
They're going to
much.
have to increase security. They're probably just going to have to for the time being. So, I mean, Dan, what do you think about this whole situation?
Well, they just need to bring it up to Doug Dillinger standards, Doug was a one of a kind.
Doug Dillinger, you're dusting him off there. You're going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going back before Bischoff was president of WCW.
Right.
Right.
Speaking of Bischoff, did you see the JBL and Eric Bischoff interview? That was on.
I did not happen
after
to
Raw
see
last
that.
night.
That is a new thing they're going to be doing on the network with JBL
Legends.
Legends.
Yes.
With JBL.
Yes. It started out very informative and very good, and it just got to be very long-winded after a little while.
Right.
Bischoff is definitely a force in the industry,
He's one of the greatest minds in the industry.
and JBL, as an introduction, gave a rundown of the highlights of Bischoff's career, and he basically made the argument that Eric Bischoff belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame.
I can see that.
JBL said, without Eric Bischoff, you wouldn't have a live Monday Night Raw. Without Eric Bischoff, you wouldn't have a Stone Cold Steve Austin. You wouldn't have the Attitude Era. And, the things that Eric Bischoff was doing in WCW, and whether it was intended or not, caused Vince to react.
Oh, absolutely.
And it changed the industry.
Right.
It caused, directly the Monday Night Wars, and it caused Vince to up his game and try to outdo, what WCW was doing, and WCW was knocking him out in the ratings, for a year straight, something like that. I forget I'm terrible with numbers. I'm sorry.
4 weeks.
84 weeks. So, nearly 2 years.
Mhm.
Well, was on top of WWE, and it caused
Absolutely.
what everybody loves and everybody wants back is that Attitude Era, and it caused Vince to react and go live with Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, because Vince at the
and do,
time was putting out a very stagnant product.
Right, and DX, you wouldn't
Right.
have DX.
No.
And some of the antics that they did, and we all remember them getting in the tank and going over to WCW, and none of that would have happened.
It went from a cartoonish kind of like stagnant product, boring, with goofy characters, to the Attitude Era.
Yep.
And because that was the only way that they were going to topple the onslaught of WCW.
So, love him or hate him, Eric Bischoff, is responsible, either directly or indirectly, for the mega success that WWE or WWF at the time has become. And for that reason alone, put the man in the WWE Hall of Fame.
I agree with that.
Either this year or next. Maybe not the headliner of the evening,
Right.
but at least one of, when they put in like 4 or 5 people every year.
Right.
So one of the 5 should be Eric Bischoff.
Exactly. He'll get his place one day. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be this year, but
I know at the time, especially at the time, Vince, I don't know, hate is a strong word, but Vince did not like this man, but he ended up hiring him, and Bischoff ended up working.
right.
On
There
a
was a
number of
respect. There
occasions.
was a respect there
Correct.
because Vince has no choice but to respect somebody like Eric
Yeah.
Bischoff because it could have just as easily been the other way around.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you've got Drew Carey
Uh-huh.
in the WWE Hall of Fame, and Drew Carey spent 30 seconds in the Royal Rumble, not even. I think Bischoff definitely
I mean,
deserves.
anybody that gets into what they call alternate history, like, well, what would have happened if some historical thing happened
Right,
differently? Like,
right.
what if the South won the Civil War, for
Right,
example?
right.
I mean, there's alternate history chat
Yeah,
boards out
without-
there
Right, without Bischoff,
where WCW won the ratings war
Right.
and bought WWF out.
Right.
I mean, so it could have just as easily happened that way in reality.
Well, yeah, and they talk about it without the merger of Time Warner and Time Warner coming in, AOL Time Warner
Right.
merged together, and the powers that came into play wanted to get rid of WCW. Had that not happened, and Ted Turner remained in power, and WCW would have existed further along the line, we'd have a different landscape.
Exactly.
We'd have a different view of things right now. It's just strange how it happened, and Bischoff really pushed the envelope, and he created a really competitive playing ground, which I would love to see happen with another organization today. And we've said it on this show many a time that
Right.
without somebody breathing down your neck, as a competitor, there's no reason
That's
to
what
get better.
needs to happen. It doesn't seem like you have that
No.
that other company
Right.
that's ready to. I mean, TNA. I mean,
TNA circle the drain.
doesn't. It's not looking too good. I'm sorry, Dan.
Well, they lost. While we're on the subject, they lost their deal with Destination America. They're not going to be renewed.
Right.
According
Well,
to-
as of January, but there's plenty of other stations out there.
Right.
Right.
I mean, Destination America, when they first took them on board, they were doing all kinds of advertising, all kinds of, hey, we're here, we're something
Right.
to watch.
Right.
And that even fizzled out because of the,
They just weren't
The
impressed with the
sponsors.
ratings.
well, they couldn't get the right sponsors that they wanted for the programming.
Well, I think I think part of it is they're still pushing the TNA as a product, and I
Right.
really would have to say that Impact Wrestling is a better marketing device because TNA, love it or not, that's stands for something else
Right.
in a lot of people's minds. And it was cute, and back in the day. To kind of, it's TNA and snicker, the 12, 13-year-old boy would snicker and laugh and say, oh, I'm going to watch some TNA tonight. All right, well, we're in a different world. Impact Wrestling tells you what it is,
Yeah.
and,
TNA is a little vague. It does stand for Total Nonstop Action.
right, which it's not total nonstop action anymore.
Perhaps it was at one point. Right.
And I really think they need to revamp their product and revamp their marketing strategy,
Right.
and hopefully
is-
make a comeback. But again, I like to see someone, if not TNA, maybe a Ring of Honor, or somebody else come in and breathe down Vince's neck to make him be more competitive and make him, change some things up, and get more creative.
Right. Dixie Carter, I have it here. She was interviewed by Sports Illustrated. She confirmed it that they're going to be canceled at the. It was supposed to be the end of this month, but it will be extended throughout the 2015 year.
Right.
So they're looking, and TNA, the co-founder of TNA, Jeff Jarrett, he apparently sold his minority stake in the company. He still had a small stake in the company, but he had to sell it back, his shares, to the parent company, Panda Energy, as part of a deal for Jarrett to return to TNA Television for this ongoing TNA versus Global Force Wrestling, some kind of feud.
Right.
I mean, you're following that a little bit.
Oh yeah. And Global Force Wrestling isn't. They've got some mediocre talent,
Right.
but they're not ready to step up to the big boys either.
Right.
No.
Well, my understanding of the operating procedure of Global Force Wrestling is that Jeff Jarrett will come into a local promotion, perhaps Pioneer Valley,
Right.
and for the time being that Jeff Jarrett is in town or part of that promotion, he folds that into his company as Global Force Wrestling. So now the roster and talent for that event of Pioneer Valley,
Would work with Jeff Jarrett.
yes, and would be considered Global Force Wrestling, and the event is billed as a Global Force Wrestling event. So he really doesn't have a lot of contracted talent. You know, it's more of
He's
pay
just-
as you go.
He's utilizing whatever independent company
Correct.
in the area.
And then he calls it,
Right.
Pioneer Valley for that day, or that event becomes Global Force.
Right.
Well, in all fairness, John, I think in order for some of these smaller companies to exist, you have to go back to the pay-as-you-go. These guaranteed.
I'm not saying it's bad.
These guaranteed contracts that put a hurting on WCW
Yeah.
Right.
didn't work. We all know the results of that.
EC Dub.
Right.
ECW is a rip-off of Japanese wrestling.
But and even ECW ran its course because they ran out of money.
Right.
Right.
So and if you
run out of money, you can't pay the
Yeah.
talent. When you can't
Yeah.
pay the talent, you have a major issue on your hands.
and if you watch the recent release by WWE, the Paul Heyman DVD, he spells it all out. That a lot of times that the checks were bouncing, and a lot of times he was borrowing from one to pay the other, and and it was just a matter of time before the money ran out.
Right.
And it's an expensive thing, and without lucrative television contracts and television deals, it's very difficult. And unfortunately, TNA is running into that now, and Global Force, without a television deal, is going to face the same
Right.
the same problem. And how do you get wrestlers to be loyal to your company if you're not going to pay them on a regular basis, on a weekly basis? But how are you going to pay them? It's a catch-22. And unfortunately, there's nobody out there that has that kind of capital to get in the game.
And Ring of Honor just looks crappy on TV. They may be a good promotion live.
Yes.
Right.
Production-wise, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, their production, and listen to Jim Ross, and he's like probably the biggest supporter and fan of the Ring of Honor product, and he's just like, why can't they just hire a production company, light the ring like it's supposed to be lit, so you can see the product on TV? And
It's hard to see the product. The lighting just isn't there.
the lighting isn't there. When the camera shots aren't there.
It's kind of like watching.
It's kind of like watching your footage.
Kind of like watching reality TV.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Here you have some great action in the ring. You've got really talented
Absolutely.
performers, and
What they claim Ring of Honor really is, it's kind of like the cross between an indie company and a major
right,
promotion.
yeah.
Or
And that's
I've
really-
heard it be referred to as a super indie even.
Yeah, and that's how it comes across. But if you want to get a national television contract, and you want to bring in national sponsors every week, you're going to have to put out a quality product.
Right, and they have they don't have the production. They have the quality talent. They put on the quality matches. That's
visually.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the Access channel does that also with New Japan Wrestling.
Right.
There's some good wrestling action on there.
They did sign, I have some ROH news here, they did sign their first international TV deal with a company in France known as, I haven't taken France since like the late 80s.
You haven't taken French?
French.
French.
L'Equipe 21, I probably just, like I said, I haven't had a French course since like 1989, to broadcast Ring of Honor television in France beginning this month. And they're hoping this is the first domino to fall in the European market, that they could get popular in Europe. It helps them with television, but they need to get more popular in the States. They have new contracts with syndicated networks, WMCN in Philadelphia, WMYD in Detroit, WCCV in Charlotte, and that all starts this fall season. So it's promising in that respect, but they have to get the national deal going.
Right. They have to get something across the board.
I don't know how long they're going to be on Destination America themselves. They're not even on the 8 o'clock slot.
Anymore, right.
They've
right.
been bumped to
I
11.
would imagine with TNA getting the boot, Ring of Honor can't be that much farther behind.
Right.
But as we've said about TNA in Europe versus the WWE product, and I'll say it again, that WWE is on a higher tier of the pay cable station, and TNA is more popular in Europe because it's on the lower tier, the basic cable.
It's more accessible.
So yeah, more people have access to it. And,
so
can
ROH
view it.
might end up with the same scenario.
I would imagine that
Right.
Ring of Honor would fall into that same category, and hopefully gain some viewership there, as opposed to someone having to pay extra to see the WWE.
Right.
Outside of the network, obviously.
Obviously.
You know,
right.
on the standard traditional cable provider.
It'll get some hits in Europe. That's for sure. The last major event, I guess you can actually call this a pay-per-view because it's actually on pay-per-view as opposed to WWE pay-per-views. You want to call them that anymore. Jay Lethal retained both the Ring of Honor and World and TV titles on the same night at All-Star Extravaganza. Lethal beat Bobby Fish to retain the TV title and Kyle O'Reilly in the main event to retain the World title. Lethal won the main event when Adam Cole turned on Kyle O'Reilly and reformed the Kingdom. Speaking of the Kingdom, that's Matt Taven and Michael Bennett, accompanied, of course, by Maria Kanellis. They won the tag titles from the incumbents, The Addiction, Daniels, and Kazarian, and the Young Bucks in a three-way match. We also had AJ Styles win a #1 contender match over Michael Elgin, the unbreakable Michael Elgin, Roderick Strong, and Adam Cole. Kenny King, formerly of TNA, now back in Ring of Honor, reformed the All Night Express with a guy named Rhett Titus. I have to watch it a little more often. I'm getting a little lax on my Ring of Honor reviewing.
You know, I've got them on the DVR, and I
Right.
just haven't gotten to them.
Right. Nothing like pure honesty to start off season 4.
Well, you know, we're busy men. What can I tell you?
Exactly.
You know, we hold down jobs and
We got a lot of commitments.
working hard,
You bet your life.
so others don't have to.
So the All Night Express beat the Briscoes, who had issued an open challenge. After that, ACH beat Matt Sydal, formerly known as Evan Bourne in the WWE, to take a 2-1 series lead in a best-of-5. Moose beat Cedric Alexander in a grudge match. Very impressed with Moose. He's a big, tough, former football player.
Yeah,
Right.
lives up to his name. Moose.
Right, exactly.
I'm really concerned about you.
Pay no mind to this guy over here. I mean, this guy here. This guy, pay attention to him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. The next pay-per-view final battle is December 16th in Philadelphia.
Yes.
So that's all I really have for ROH news.
Yeah. Well, I hope either TNA can get their stuff together or Ring of Honor can step up their production value. Because I think if more people get to see Ring of Honor and get a better quality production value, and believe me, the talent, the wrestling, it's all there. We can't stress that enough. It's just a matter of the television production just hasn't gotten to the professional level yet.
Yeah.
And if it does, and maybe they'll get some money coming in from
I hope it
Europe,
does.
and I like I said, I really would want to see competition because WWE, as much as we love it, is getting to be the same old, same old. It's getting stale, and everyone loves that Attitude Era. And as I said,
It's the same
what
stick with
caused it
WWE.
was the competition between WCW and WWE made Vince change his game and get more interesting and do new innovative things. And without somebody, right behind you on your,
Right.
there's no reason to change. There's no reason to get better, and there's no reason to try to think of new
Because
things.
let's face the facts, the way that the current WWE product is going, you're going to see John Cena tie the record with Ric Flair. You're going to see that.
Right.
You're going to see him surpass it.
Right, and it's like, and everything is talking.
I take nothing away from John Cena's athletic abilities whatsoever.
but- We've
And
seen
he
it.
does a lot for charity, and we can respect that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
But we've seen it. We've seen it so many times, and now that as much as we love the Dudleys,
Right.
and Devon was nice enough to give us an interview a little while back, and we love them as performers, but this is 2002 all over again. You've got Brock Lesnar, you've got the Dudleys, and Flair is still in the picture. I'm sorry.
Taker.
And Taker's been
Right.
coming in, and Sting,
Sting,
a stalwart.
Sting got
you know.
stung the other night. So,
Sting got stung the other night.
And and they're talking about I don't know. I'm hearing rumblings about bringing Carlito back. And
There's
I'm
rumblings
hearing-
about bringing Carlito back. At least he wasn't around that long.
Right, but it's just like you've got. And then watch NXT. You've got these young, this young talent coming in.
I got somebody on my Facebook. He said, if I really wanted to see the Dudleys and Sting, I'd put the network on.
Yeah,
And he's kind of has a point.
right.
Right. I mean, Sting got stung though. This
Yeah.
is something that's I respect Steve Borden a lot as an athlete and a
Yep.
person for the things he does too. WWE confirmed on their website, and this is some serious stuff. They didn't even bother talking about it last night on Raw, which I don't understand why. They could have at least mentioned it once. What happened? They have confirmed. Their website has confirmed that Sting suffered an injury during the Night of Champions, but they were very, very vague about it, even on the website. Their version of the events. Now, according to Wrestling Observer, their injury to Sting's
Meltzer.
neck, Dave Meltzer, of course, was significant and potentially career-threatening. He appeared to suffer the injury taking a buckle bomb into the corner from Seth Rollins. Sting staggered out of the corner as Rollins waited for Sting to make a move. Sting then slumped down to the mat, and he was checked out by the referee and an attending physician there. So this is at age 56 now. I think Cena suffered neck injuries before and came back.
Yeah.
But you got to figure Sting. I mean, Cena's
At
probably
56.
Cena's in his early 30s.
at 56, you don't bounce back
56.
quite as well as you used to.
Right, exactly. There's a country song, I'm not as young as I once was.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to sing to us, are you?
No,
Thank God.
I'm a good singer, but that's
Only after a few pops and
I'm a pretty good singer now.
Your go-to is Margaritaville.
I'm not my dad. My dad, God rest his soul, did a much better job at Margaritaville than I did. I will have to admit. But yeah, you don't bounce back from things as easily.
No.
I mean, I kind of wouldn't have minded too much if Sting got a title run because he's never had the WWE title.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
We don't
So
like to see
as
it.
a bucket list, say just to add to his accomplishments, to say he did it.
Right.
I wouldn't have minded it, and I still wouldn't mind it if he can come back.
Right.
Well,
It's just an issue of can he after this.
Well, keep in mind too, Jay, in recent interviews, Sting has stated that he over here contractually now to put over the younger talent. So you may not see a Sting title run
Right.
at age 56 when you got other performers who are 30, 35. They're going to,
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like, because you get back to where Vince doesn't like if he didn't create it himself,
Right.
you don't like it. I was kind of expecting Sting to win the belt, and then Sheamus coming and catching the briefcase right then and there.
Yeah.
So Sting had the title for a grand total of like 2 minutes or so. Right. That didn't end up happening that way.
And talking about people thinking Kane is back, now Kane is like dual personalities.
The split person, I
and
don't
there's
think we've seen
grumblings
this.
of Kurt Angle coming. It's like,
There's grumblings again at Kurt Angle.
yes.
After they said there was no way, and now there's a way.
Well, with TNA, and I've heard that Vince is making an offer to buy TNA, but I can't
You've
confirm.
also heard that too.
I can't confirm it, but and again, it's the library for the network. It's more,
It'll
more
be
so,
exactly. It'll be more content for them. That's
more,
all.
more so than the talent, but and I also hear Victoria / Tara, maybe coming back into the Divas, but it's you've got homegrown now. They've got the Performance Center. You've got homegrown talent, and why are we going backwards in time instead of moving forward?
They They built a state-of-the-art facility in Florida,
Right.
the Performance Center. They're probably getting. I don't know about the politics of it all, but they're probably getting huge tax breaks from the state of Florida. I think I said that. Talked about that a couple seasons ago when it first opened up. Utilize that big building you built to help people come in,
Right.
and, train.
And as we see on NXT, the Vaudevillains are ready to come up.
They're ready. I would have brought them up already.
Yeah.
I'd have been brought them up.
But now you have, without a great tag team, young guys, a new and fresh gimmick.
Fresh gimmick. You've never seen something like this before.
But and I'm not sliding your talent and them as people, but you bringing back the Dudleys.
Right.
And as much as I'm not that big of a fan of the gimmick of New Day, but
No.
at least it's new and it's fresh, and the younger guys, and you're giving Kofi a chance, to shine.
Right.
In a different character, which I had complained for a long time that Kofi was stale. So at least he's got something new and
He's
different.
got yeah.
And then you bring in the Dudleys.
You bring in the Dudleys for whatever reason,
and
so they can say they can do it one more time.
I don't understand.
gotta be it.
It's not the first time they've traveled down that road, though. They did it with Bob Backlund when he won the title,
Yeah.
and they've done it over and over again historically.
Yeah. But let's move forward, and let's face it. A lot of the younger fan base wasn't around for the Dudleys. Unless by watching the network and looking at old DVDs.
You get a
and what
kid
have
that's
you.
10 years old. That's never. Let's say this kid doesn't watch TNA at all.
Right.
Who are these guys?
Yeah. So
Right.
I mean, they're only getting a pop from guys like us.
Right.
Our age, give or take.
People
But,
that know who they are,
right.
what they mean to the
Right.
business.
So I mean,
Right.
I don't see them bringing in new viewers.
No.
I haven't seen the ratings haven't just gone crazy, and they've pretty much remained the same across the board.
How's that stock doing for you?
The stock market's killing everybody, brother.
Right.
But I don't see any really tactical advantage of bringing these older guys back. Bring The Rock back, yeah. I mean, he's got that audience.
All right. My vote is if you're going to bring anybody that's been
I was
there
waiting
back
for that.
Again, why don't you just bring her back?
Gail Kim.
Somebody that is young enough to still go, and somebody that deserves a legitimate, not that she hasn't had a legitimate career, but put the icing on the cake by having a legitimate run at the Divas Championship, and not just winning it at a battle royal or being promised it and never delivering on her promise.
And before we run out of time, thank goodness Charlotte won the title. The Bellas can just drift away softly into the night.
Please.
Thank goodness.
Please.
So we have a new Flair
Right.
with the title.
Yeah.
And Gail Kim, I'm sure if you watched, is the TNA Knockouts champion.
Again.
Again.
Yes.
That's fine. She created the division, and she can still go.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Absolutely.
got the talent.
Right.
So, yeah, I would like to. I would like to see Gail Kim
Come back.
Yeah, and if they're going to bring back any of the divas, bring back Mickey James. Mm-hmm. So
Do that too.
if that's going to happen.
Right.
But again, you've got Sasha Banks, you've got Emma, you've got these younger ladies that can fill that role. So,
Paige can fill that role.
Yeah, for every
Paige let everybody know
for
last
every
night that she can
legend-
fill that role.
For every legend or old timer that you bring back, you're taking away a spot from somebody else.
Right.
So that's what I'm opposed to. I'm not opposed and against the seeing seems like old times, but give the new talent a shot. But any steamed?
Not
blowing off
really.
steam? Nothing blowing off steam today.
Steve, well, let's just, like Jay stated earlier, there's that footage going to be showing throughout the week, at various times.
From American Steam.
From American Steam.
American Steam, they're our sponsor.
I'm looking forward to it because I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
I'm sure the viewers will find that footage quite interesting.
Right. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to say it.
You were committed that day.
Oh, yeah.
I have nothing. I have no steamed. I just have positive vibes coming in.
Well, we've got a full new season.
Right.
It's my new year. I'm looking forward to positive things and just going forward.
Going forward.
And being the most positive, energetic people we can be.
Exactly. I like the message we're sending out there. What I call the promote it campaign. We started it last year. We went aggressive. We've been going up to Massachusetts on the average of I'd say a couple times a month,
Yeah.
and we're of course, we had the PWA Squared Circle television title.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Can't be more supportive than that.
No,
You
we're-
sponsor a belt.
Any other companies in Connecticut we'll check into as many as we can,
Yeah.
time permitting, of course.
The return of CTWE, we'll cover that next week.
Yes, if we have any information about that,
Yeah.
definitely. Weren't able to get to that card.
No, and last week Aubrey had set up an interview with the owner of CTWE, but obviously we weren't live,
Right.
and we're going to have to promote his next event. So we'll
Exactly.
definitely get in contact with CTWE and give you an update on that. And we got to wrap it up.
I'm definitely willing to work with them.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, of course.
Anybody that wants to work with us.
Dignity, respect. We'll give you the same.
If you're watching this on YouTube right now and you're a wrestling promoter and you've never seen us before, we're out there. Contact us via Facebook.
Yeah.
Call this number up. We're live Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock from 8 to 9. Definitely.
Definitely.
We certainly know that the other our audience is growing because Jay gets constant feedback on the product.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Almost minute by minute sometimes.
Minute by minute, of course. The likes are going up. The views are going up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting contacted, and like I said, these are running hot.
I'm contemplating tweeting.
I tried it for a while. I just, again, time and energy, and
Right.
if this was all I did with my life, then I would have
Right.
time for it. But,
I use Twitter for other reasons,
Right.
and the problem I find is they don't give you a lot of space to say a lot.
No.
No.
You got to keep it short and simple.
Well, you know
that's
what?
all.
Right.
Shakespeare, brevity is the soul of wit. So I think Twitter, brevity is the soul of twit. There we are.
There we are. And
Copyright that.
We're just about wrapping things up here.
Yes, we are.
So stay tuned next week. We'll see what we can do about we have a lot. Yeah, like John said, it's not really me. He's
No,
kidding
it's-
about
yeah.
that. It's just
Again,
just a matter
it's
of
just time.
you're right, time getting in there.
Well, NACB was devoted to the North Haven Fair last week.
Right.
And we got the elections coming up, so it's difficult for all of us to get together and our crack staff to edit the footage and get it put together. But
Right.
we shall endeavor to do so.
We shall.
And
we
with
shall.
the weather changing now, the cooling of the the natural cooling of the earth.
Yep.
Right, which I don't really want to talk about, but
Yeah,
I love the summer.
Well, we'll miss the summer, but I've noticed now waking up in mornings or going home at night, it's been a lot more foggy out there. So I want to remind everybody to just be safe on the road. So you can tune in next week and check us out.
Definitely.
There we are.
Stay tuned for that. I'm Hollywood J. Williams. Good night. Good luck. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.